All right, there we go. All right, so welcome everybody. Do me a favor really quickly. If you are brand spanking new to the call, go ahead and just type new in the chat for me, please. Just type new in the chat. And let me give you a couple updates. We are moving along nicely. You guys know that we launched Vibe back in December 17th. So we've been going strong for roughly about 155 days. And, you guys heard from Jayson earlier. We are all love, peace, and joy on here. But every once in a while, we'll get somebody who's a negative Ned or negative Nancy. We know who they are, so we're just gonna remove those folks, but it's not gonna stop this show. Whatever God has ordained, let it be so. So you know that we launched Vibe. Vibe stands for Visualize Your Breakthrough. How many of you guys over the last 100+ days, if you've been with us, or new folks, I'm talking to you too. How many of you truly believe that your breakthrough is on its way, and that whatever God has for you is big? Like, we serve a God that is so big that sometimes we don't even understand how big it is. If you really think God is saying, I'm here to pay your light bill and your water bill and if that's what you're asking God for, then you are thinking entirely too small. You are thinking too small. My goal is to be able to, let me, one second, quick second. Let's put Jelly Snack Michelle. Michelle, she gets on here every time to be negative, and her husband works for the government, and she is on here all the time. Hold on one second. Let me just remove her. There we go. See you later. I would like for you to stay because you need to get this word clearly. Right? But I'm just excited because when we launched Vibe, we've been in a lot of different companies, and I love the industry of relationship marketing. I love it. It's probably one of my favorite industries if you really take it seriously, right? And in order to take this industry seriously, you really have to take yourself seriously. You really have to put yourself first. So we talked about that this morning because it is Thrive Thursday. And this is where we're going to focus on not just surviving, but thriving. So we launched Vibe. Our goal was actually to do Project 5,000, to put 5,000 people in 90 days, but we didn't do that. We were at 74,000 plus. We grew almost 2,000 people, 1,500 to 2,000 people over the last maybe 72 hours. So we are thriving. People are looking for, an opportunity to really, truly just go to the next level in their life. So we're gonna help them to do that, right? We're gonna help them, give them the opportunity to do that. So I'm gonna get out of the way. And what I want to do, ladies and gentlemen, is I want to bring up my guest speakers. You guys had a chance. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves. You had a chance to meet one of my longtime besties. We've been friends for almost 30 years now. And you guys have heard me tell the story about my friend, one of my closest friends, who was shot and killed when I was in college. And this was actually his best friend. So, we kind of went through the pain together and to get to the other side, which is purpose. So I am so very excited that him and I have stayed friends, but more than friends, we've really become family. So I am going to bring my partner, Jayson Wells, up. So if you can turn your video on so I can spotlight you, that would be great. And then I'm also going to bring up my brother, who's my blood brother, and you guys had a chance to meet him. We call him Just Inspire because he's not here to motivate. Like Jayson says, motivation seems like a lot of work to me, to have to pick somebody up off the floor every single day. But my brother is so very inspiring, and I'm grateful for him. So I want to be able to bring him up as well. And then my newfound friend, Miss Rachel, who, her and I are just, really forming our relationship. I've been friends with her husband for many years, and being friends with somebody's husband, I always make it a point to be friends with the wife. And, as we started to communicate, And I kind of stalked her from a distance because she is that powerful. And beside every great man is a phenomenal woman, phenomenal mother. So I also want to bring her up as well. So if you guys can, you do have to turn your video on, and then I'll be able to spotlight you if you can do that. Let's see. Let me turn my video off for a second and see if I can find you guys. All right, there we go. I see you. Add spotlight. There's my brother. All right. Hi, Rachel. I see you out there. And then let me get, I just had Jayson. There he is. Okay, perfect. All right. All right. We are back at it again, ladies and gentlemen. So if you guys were here this morning, you know that we had this afternoon, I guess at 1 p.m. Eastern, we had an amazing conversation. And tonight is going to be a little bit of the same, but we want to be able to answer the questions in the chat with our community. So obviously you guys did something good because we're almost at 400 people again. Back to see you. Back to see you again. So I'm excited. All right. Justin, are you trying to turn your laptop on too? Is that you or no? You guys have to unmute for me.
I'm unmuted.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay. So everybody on my team already knows I got a couple haters out here. You guys probably know. I don't like to give energy because I know my guru, Miss Hicks, says that whatever you give energy to breathes, it breeds more of it. But I do have a couple lovers who are obsessed with me, and they've made 90 videos about me online. They've AI'd me, everything. They get on every single call, guys. Every call. Listen, I could do a blitz tomorrow and do a call at 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock. They would be on every call. If I stayed on here for 8 hours, they would stay on here. So we're going to give them this work today. So clearly they got some things they got to work out in their own life as well. So what I want to do is I'm going to give you guys just a quick moment to reintroduce yourself to the team, and then we're going to get right to it because the community has some questions that they want to get answered, but some people are brand spanking new. So I want you to go ahead and let us know your credentials. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Again, ladies first. You want to go again first, Miss Rachel?
Yes, thank you for having me. Hello, everyone, and happy Thursday. I'm excited to be with you today as we are thriving on this day. Listen, this is the day that the Lord has made. We shall rejoice no matter what and be glad in it. So let me just set that tone because I heard you, Megan. We just got to just rejoice in all things, okay? So I am a empowerment coach and counselor. My background is in social work and inner healing. And so currently I am a therapist. I have a private practice called Get to the Root Counseling, where I serve men and women who are dealing with mental health issues, relationship issues, and just want to also gain clarity using the faith model, which is rooted in Christianity. So I'm super excited to be here and to be able to pour into others so they can win and thrive. I'm excited because this platform is so unique. Like it really is a unique platform where we can come to grow and gain so we can execute in real time. So I'm super excited to be with you all tonight, and I cannot wait to continue this discussion.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Who is next? Gentlemen, go ahead, jump in there, introduce yourself.
All right. So I am Justin, Megan's blood brother, as she said. And why am I here? What is this all about for me? And just my background. My background is, as you can see on my shirt, it says Just Inspire. And what Megan was talking about, like the motivation. I think like to motivate someone, you have to motivate them constantly. So when things seem to die down, you got to be back there again to pick them up and motivate them again. But there's a difference between being motivated and inspiring. So when you inspire someone, it's almost like you're giving them an idea, you're giving them a tool, and they can take that and they can run with it. So all the great things that have been, created, in the world today has been created by inspiration, not by motivation. So I'm here to really, hear people out, learn from you just as much as you would learn from me. I don't have all the answers, but I do have some answers for you. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be teaching a class, and it's called The Year of Self. And the Year of Self is really all about each one of us, learning about who we are, learning about, the things that we have, dealt with in the past, the things that we are dealing with in the present, and things that are to come in the future. And so for you to really understand who you are, your identity, so that you can be the best that you are, not just for you, but for the world that's around you and everyone that you're connected to. So that's what it's all about for me. And I'm definitely excited because I do this stuff all day, every day anyway. And this is what I love to do. Um, there's probably nothing else that I would love to do more.
Awesome. And Justin, your internet, because I know you're probably sitting outside right now. You got dogs in there and snakes. Just just so you guys know,
Oh,
your internet is
sure,
going
sure.
in and out just a touch. It was freezing, but it's
It was.
probably because my brother didn't tell me, which I'm not afraid of snakes, but my brother has had ferrets, parrots, all kind of stuff. I go to his house, he has two dogs. I'm like, no way, right? He comes upstairs with a boa. I mean, a ginormous one. And I'm like, you got a snake? He's like, oh, I got 10. You got 10 snakes downstairs. You didn't even tell me you got 10 snakes. So if you guys want to check it out, it's on my Facebook page. And I got these big whatever he had around my neck, and leave it to my brother, right? Growing up in Princeton, Indiana. Well, okay.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for this going in and out, but I kind of have to add to that just so that you know and understand. So yes, I definitely grew up like that. But for me, I love dealing with the animals because animals show you who. I, there was a guy who told me one time. He said, whenever I had my first daughter, he said, "Hey, have you ever raised dogs?" And I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Well, raising kids is like raising dogs." He said, "What you do is you have to make sure that you correct them every single time they do something wrong, but you also have to reward them whenever they do things right." And it's real simple, but that's that's the best way to raise kids. You let them get away with something over and over again, the same as you allow a dog to get away with something, then it creates bad behaviors, which becomes a habit, and then it's very, very hard to change that out. So snakes, I like all kind of animals, but they show me because I don't handle things when I'm nervous or I'm anxious or anything else. So it causes me to check myself first. And also I'll say that man, many times snakes are a little bit more loyal than a lot of people. Ooh, I'm just gonna leave that there.
I don't know, because
All right, Jayson, go.
the
My
snakes
bad.
in my life were not that loyal. But anyways, I keep my grass cut low, like Kevin Gates said, so I can see all of them. Just kidding. All right, moving on. We already jumping into it right now. So go ahead to my bestie. Feel free
Yeah,
to introduce yourself to the family.
yeah. Jason Wells, in a nutshell, former professional athlete. I've spent the majority of my life in the world of athletics, and now into this space that I know it's not necessarily my turn, but I'm really connected to this phrase of mindset performance. For me, mindset taps back immediately into what I believe. What do I value? What's most important to me? What am I thinking? I'm a firm believer that I am not going to outbehave my beliefs. I think that's what happens on January 1st. A lot of years is we start to set these resolutions and these behaviors that our beliefs don't necessarily align with that. And so that's the mindset part of it. Performance for me is a touch on my athletic background, but also for those of us that aren't and don't have athletic backgrounds, performance for me means how am I getting better? How am I growing? How am I evolving? How am I enhancing? How am I any of those words that you want to use as far as improvement? I mentioned this earlier. I am in ridiculous obsession of learning myself. And I really want to emphasize that word of ridiculous. Like I know to some people it sounds ridiculous. And just to piggyback on something that Justin just said about not having all the answers, I'm going to piggyback and say the exact same thing and then add my little twist to it. I don't have all the answers, but I do have a lot of questions. And those questions come from myself. Anytime that I'm asking someone a question, I've asked myself that question already, which to me, the beauty is in the questions, not necessarily in the answers. Even if you take something like gambling, the lottery, the fun is in the guess of the question, not necessarily. I know I'm being facetious right here because I would love to have the answers to the lotto too, but just that constant curiosity of me being able to ask myself questions, sit in my own discomfort of the exploration, not discomfort as in I'm uncomfortable, discomfort as in this is new to me. I'm exploring this. This is uncharted territory. And me being able to sit in that place. And so I live in a place of questions. And I do want to throw this out there. We were just on a call 3-4 hours ago, and all of y'all changed clothes, and I feel a certain kind of way because I'm still in the same.
I just think like this one white shirt. Yeah, I love wearing white, but Rachel, the makeup will be getting
Jayson,
on
I'm
your
the same. I look the exact same.
I
Have on
thought
the
your
same
shirt was
clothes.
blue. I thought your shirt was blue earlier.
No,
Nope.
it's the same
All right.
dress.
I just drove 3 hours. So I got home and changed, and I'm right here on the call. So yeah,
Let's do
that's
it.
the only reason, man.
That's commitment right there
Good
too.
thing. What'd you
Funny,
say?
but
I said that's commitment right there too.
Oh, no doubt.
all right. So listen, we're gonna dive right in. I got a question, and then hey guys in the chat, go ahead and ask questions. And if we can just, when I say kind of vibe out, because I used to have this conversation with one of my friends, and my friend, her and I just like, there's no nothing. I mean, we're just jumping in. So I want you guys to feel free. I know sometimes people are like, "Oh, you cut me off." I had a friend who was like, "Let me talk, then you talk, then me." I don't like to talk like that with my friends, but you can do whatever you want. But I want you guys to feel free to just kind of jump in like we're kind of podcasting. And then if people do have questions in the chat, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to feel like you're a part of it. So if you want some questions, you have some questions that you want answered or you want us to speak on, then we can definitely do that. But I'm getting right into it. Like what do you guys think the mindset shift is that separates people who wait from people who win? Because in our industry, it's you gotta be in a hurry. You really do, but you do have to be intentional. I get it, but people don't like slow money. They like fast money, and a lot of times in our networking industry, if people don't win big within their first 3 days or 30 days, it's like, oh, this doesn't work. I'm going to go jump and do something new. But you're taking yourself. And maybe it's something I feel like you should have learned in this space. But what do you guys think? What's the mindset shift that separates people who just sit around and wait for things and versus those people who go get it and tend to win more often than lose?
Oh no, don't act like that. Don't act like that. We're gonna all sit here and wait for the other. Come on, I'll go. I'll go. I'll go.
Go
I hope I steal y'all thunder too, just so I
Yeah.
can
ahead,
be
go ahead, man. You got it. Go ahead.
I saw this activity. I guess you could call it an activity. One of the guys that I would consider to be one of my coaches. He's no longer physically with us, but he stood in front of a group with a $50 bill. and held it in his hand and asked who wanted it. And everybody raised their hand. Yeah, we didn't all stole it from somewhere.
Oh,
But
I
like the
did it
first
in Detroit. Sorry, go ahead. I'm
yeah,
listening.
like this is what comes to mind. Like, so I'm standing there with a $50 bill, $100 bill, even, and who wants it? And everybody's gonna throw their hands up. All right, cool. And literally, all he did was, okay, cool. Who really want it? And they all raised their hand. Now they look like little third graders that know the answer, raising like, ooh, I want it, I want it, I want it. And finally, this lady got up and walked up to him, no pace, no speed, no nothing. Took the $100 or the $50 bill out of his hand, walked back to her seat, and everybody was sitting there in astonishment. Everybody was sitting there like, well, you didn't. And Megan, I see you saying that you did this. I actually did this in a school, and it was one of the most amazing things that I've been a part of in my content delivery.
Mhm.
um I was speaking to the class that was in the classroom with me, and as I was doing it, the door was open, and somebody that was walking in the hallway heard me, beelined into the room, took I was a $20 bill on, I ain't at the point where I'm willing to do it with a with 100 just yet. It was a $20 bill, beelined into the room, took the $20 and walked out. And everybody in the classroom was so, but you didn't tell us that. I didn't say anything. I said, who wanted it? And so as I hear you ask that question, Megan, for me, it's action. It's action. And this, I think, is the importance of talking about action. We can sit here and we can have a mindset all we want to. We can have a desire all we want to. The desire is nothing without action. I love listening to Rachel from earlier, listening to Rachel just now, listening to Justin speak about biblical scriptures. Faith without action is nothing.
Yeah.
I can have all the faith in the world, but I gotta put action to it. And so yeah, just that little bit of deal. I know we have some people in the chat that are, familiar with that. I don't think it's anything groundbreaking, but for me, it's rooted into that action piece.
So Jason, let me add, it's belief in action, right? That can take a person from wanting it to having it, because you gotta want it. You have to believe it's attainable. You have to have the mindset and the confidence that you can go do it. Like you said, somebody said earlier, I think it was you because I wrote it down, it was so good. You said you're not going to outperform your belief, right? And so
Mm,
your
mm,
belief is, maybe I can obtain it. Maybe, do I need to ask for permission? Do I have enough zeal? Am I likable, acceptable? Whatever the thought process, you won't outperform your belief system. So I believe it's both. It's your belief being rooted in truth and confidence, and action, execution. You got to have both.
mm,
Absolutely.
I would say this, uh, just to kind of share like a little story like about myself. And it's always something that I feel like defines, who I am, especially like when times get rough. So my I played I played college basketball, college football. Um, Finished up my last several years playing football mainly. And my senior year, so I played running back. Um, some of you may know like Tony Romo. I was in the backfield with him, right? Um, so I'm playing against this team that has another running back, and both of us are going head to head as far as like who is leading the conference in rushing. So uh halfway through the game, like right before halftime, I'm running the ball, and 320-pound guy gets thrown like into the hole and lands on the back of my heel as I'm pushing off. And my big toe bends all the way back and over to the side, right? And I get up. I've never been injured before, really. I run off on the sideline, and I'm like, shoot, that was not good. My coach gives me a play to take back out on the field. I run back out on the field, and I get halfway out, turn around and come back, and I'm like, my foot's broke. And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, my foot's broke. He said, go into the locker room, let the doctor take a look at it. Go in, doctor looks at it, and he's like, yeah, you broke like several bones down here. And my first question to him was, is there anything you can do so I can get back out on the field and play? And he was like, yeah, but it's going to be very painful. So I was like, well, we need to do what we got to do. So he gives me 5 shots in my big toe, the bottom of my foot, in between, needle this long, right? And as he's doing it, I'm clenching my teeth, I'm screaming and everything else. Tapes it up. Team comes in at halftime. I go back out with them after halftime. And I played the whole second half. It felt like a rock being in the bottom of my shoe, my cleat, as I was running. So, long story short, I scored 2 touchdowns. One, the last touchdown was a game-winning touchdown. It sounds great and everything, right? But we had a 5-hour bus trip back. I cried for 5 hours straight. Ain't gonna lie. The stuff wore off, and every heartbeat, it was just like, you could feel everything. Most intense pain I've felt. The next 4 games, I did the same thing. So why am I saying that? Because I was the captain of the team. My team was dependent on me. And because I believed in myself, I believed that my position was important and nothing was going to stop me from getting back out there and trying to do whatever I could to help my team. So that taking action and that want that was ingrained in myself, no matter what, that's what I feel like separates people. So no matter what, you're always going to have resistance. You're always going to have something that comes up against you. What are you willing to go through in order to attain the goal that you've set out to do? So it's true action. Action when resistance, when you're up against the wall, are you going to fight to come up out of that and do whatever you have to do to make it happen?
Yeah. I was over here cringing because I remember we were there and I was like, that was and I just so appreciate you with that story because I believe that athletes make the best networkers. I think because we know, Rachel, your daughter, your son,
Mhm.
killing it, right? All of you guys, like all of us, actually, all of our kids are athletes, and um, I think we understand when you're an athlete that you have to go through a process that doesn't happen overnight. And I always find it easier when I'm working with athletes in this particular space because they know that it's going to be a process. They know that you don't go from zero to hero immediately. Um, so I appreciate you guys sharing that story. I'm going to go to the chat really quickly. And Wilton says, "My question is about self-growth. So my question is for all 3 guests. What daily habits or routines do you believe are most impactful? Okay. Most impactful for personal and professional growth. And how do you measure and reflect on your own progress to ensure continuous improvement?" Wow. That is a really great question. What daily habits or routines do you believe are most impactful for your personal and professional growth? How do you measure it? How do you reflect on your own progress to ensure that you keep moving forward, that you don't plateau?
I'll go first. Part of my daily habits is that in the morning when I wake up, I put on my headphones and I allow worship music to minister to me so then I can minister to the Lord because I got to make sure my mind is clear. And so that is literally the first thing that I do in the morning. Husband sleep, I put on headphones and I go into worship. From there, I really do plan my day. I have note cards everywhere. That is my thing, right? Or a sticky note. And I literally plan how many clients I have, what time are my breaks, what I have to get done that day. Um, and from there, I spend more time with the Lord because of what I do. So my purpose is to help people heal. And so I can't help people heal without the healer. So majority of my morning is being saturated in the presence of God. So I can pour out. So that is truly my remedy. From there, I do exercise because you have to release. You have to allow the good endorphins to flow through your body. Exercise is literally medicine. It is medicine for our bodies. And so those are my habits. Those are the 3 things that I do. From there is throughout the day, I am listening to the word. Throughout the day, I am listening to podcasts about things related to my field. So my field is mental health. So I'm constantly learning. If I have a break, I am reading. I am filling my mind. I'm not allowing my mind to be idle. I'm not allowing my mind to just wander or spiral. Like, I am truly in control of my day, my mood, and my atmosphere. So when I think about what helps me to win, what helps me to stay focused, I make sure that I am in control as much as I can with where my eye gates go, where my hands go, and what I put in my mouth. That's how I maintain.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I mean, it's almost like teaching high school, and I spent a lot of time not doing what you said
Mm.
and being very much a thermometer, you know what I mean? And it was until I started to get control of what I was listening to. And I started doing that with the young people as well. That was the first question I started to ask them when they would come to my class for the very first time. They thought it was just fun, but I would ask them, write down your top 3 to 5 songs on your playlist. And from that alone, I kind of knew where their minds were, if they're listening to kind of that sad music, if they're listening to the poor pitiful me. I mean, I can tell what mood my kids are in based on the music that they're listening to, and it will eventually come out in some form or fashion in their daily routine and their daily walk. So thank you so much for sharing that. And then I'll have all 3 of you guys kind of answer that last question in just a second. But what do you guys do? How do you what is your daily habits and routines that are impactful?
Justin, entertainment. Yeah. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I can say this. So I'm always gonna like try to speak about myself and just just try to be as real as possible. All right. So my best habits are whenever I wake up in the morning, I'm out the door before everybody gets up, you know. I'm at the gym, same thing, headphones on. I'm listening to things, and I'm just listening to things enough just so that I can start writing. So many times I'll sit at the gym on the the bench press, um and I'm writing on my phone because I get things that that start coming to me. However, so being real, here's the thing. Um, I would say probably over the last 6, 7 months, my habits have been terrible. And I say that because of this. Um, I've had so much stuff going on, and I've kind of been like in survival mode. And so now what I'm trying to work on right now is I'm trying to disrupt whatever type of routine I have, because I know in order for you to create good in order for you to change, many times people they say they want to change. I want to change my life. I want to change. Yeah, but you're doing the same exact thing every single day. So you wake up in the morning on the same side of the bed, you pick up your phone, you scroll, you know, you you approach the bathroom the same exact way. You get in the car, you drive in the car, the same direction, the same route, same path. You get frustrated with the traffic and everything else. So and you do all of these things, throughout your day, but you want to change. And so the way to change, you got to disrupt, all of those patterns. So I'm in the process now of trying to disrupt, any of the patterns that I've had, because again, I've been in survival mode. And survival mode is not good. Survival mode is stressful. And I know a lot of people, act in that way as well. Um, it's kind of like if you were being chased by a lion, right? And you you sprint around the corner and you look back and you're like, he's gone, right? But once you get around the corner and he's gone, you're supposed to, mellow out, the adrenaline and everything's supposed to die down. But what has happened with me, and I know happens with a lot of people, you're constantly being chased by the lion. There's no break. The adrenaline continues to go, and that's not good. It's highly stressful for us. So I'm just telling you, like right now, I don't have it all together. I'm working on creating better habits for myself to get myself out of that survival mode so that I need to disrupt my patterns. I need to figure out where I want to go and start creating better habits for myself. So that's just me keeping it real.
Yeah, thank you for being transparent and vulnerable, because people think once you have it, you always have it. And it's like it's an everyday thing, especially when traumatic things happen. Rachel, you know that our father passed away. Rachel actually just lost her father as well. About a month before Justin, we lost our father. Jayson lost his father and I don't want to say lost, our parents transitioned. So we have that in common, right? We have that commonality where I can only love on you from a distance, Rachel, because I still had my dad. And then just not even 30 days later, I was in the same situation that you were in. So it was less empathy of, wow, I'm feeling for you, and more like, I know what you're going through. And that can disrupt patterns as well, or good habits that we have.
And and even with me, so like losing my dad, about 30 days later, I lost someone who was like a son to me as well, 24 years old. Lived with my daughter and her fiance and everything. And so life happens, and it will disrupt, your whole life and how you do certain things. Well, now you got to figure out how to get back on track. So these are things that when you create a circle of people that you're able to talk to and have these type of conversations and be real. Like, man, I'm struggling in this area. Oh yeah, well, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? We need this community. The community is what will help you put the pieces back together and get you right, get you back on track. And it's just by love, it's by patience, it's by commitment to one another. And this is what we need. This is what we had when we grew up, when we had community and people actually cared about each other. Well, we got to get back to that now.
Right. We are doing it to be here in Vibe. And I'm going to ask Jayson the same question, but I'm super proud of Jayson too. He's probably one of the most disciplined people. I'm like, how do you just I mean, he like sticks to it. So Jayson, talk to us a little bit about your daily routine of growth.
Yeah, thank you. And it's also wild to hear you say, give me credit on how much you think I stick to it, because we don't wake up next to each other. and so and so just
No, we
like
know.
Justin, like I sit there and I say the same thing. And it's for me, it's common for what we do. It's what we do on social media. We look at somebody else's highlights, or what we deem as their highlights, and we attach that as if it's the whole movie, as if it's the whole story, if it's the whole game. And so yes, I am pretty disciplined, if I'm using that word, with how I move about it. And 100%, I am a human being who has human being moments. um, and that looks like not doing the things that I said I wanted to do, or if I'm using the word procrastination, any of these words that are commonplace in what we're doing, and how we move about it. But for me, and I was eager to hear Rachel share, Justin share. I was eager to hear specifically the timing of the day, and there's a commonality of the timing of the day. And I know, Rachel, you had jumped off earlier, but I mentioned I'm one of those people. I don't care what time you wake up. I don't care what time you go to sleep. I'm not one of those. If you don't wake up at 4:30 in the morning while it's still dark outside, you ain't never gonna be nothing in life. I don't believe that. I don't care what time you wake up. And for me, for you, Rachel, for you, Justin, there's a power in when I first wake up.
Mhm.
When I first wake up. And for me, naming gives things power. So I name just about everything. Like I don't even call this my office. I call it my environment of excellence. Like the naming of that for me is it gives it more power. And so for me, I name my first part of my day and I call it my prime time. And prime time for me has two, it's a double meaning. Number one, prime as in I think about being a little kid growing up in Cleveland, Ohio. It was a lot of what we used to call hoopties and buckets when it came to cars. And they might have been in transition of a paint job and they riding around with that gray. Like I know matte paint jobs are in style now, but this was not on purpose back then, you know. But they were priming the car to go from one color to another color. If I want to paint my walls, I need to prime the wall to get ready for the transition. And so that's the part of it. I'm priming my day. I'm preparing my day for whatever it may entail. And then the other meaning for prime is premium. This is my time of day. This is when I do the things that most people say they don't have time to do. It's when I tap into my spirituality. It's when I tap into my mental focus. It's when I tap into my physical focus. It's when I call it my armor. I'm armoring up. I'm armoring up, and so my alarm goes off. I am an early riser. My alarm goes off at 4:31 every day. And Megan, I don't know if you remember why it's 4:31, but those numbers add up to 8, and 8 to me is a significant number. Biblically, it's new beginnings. But for me, it's infinity, it's completion. So if I can get to the number 8, I'm gonna get to the number 8. So at 4:31, my alarm goes off. By 5 o'clock, I'm in the gym doing my physical stuff, and it's not long. Justin, you said it earlier. I ain't in the gym. Them days of being in the gym for 3 and 4 hours. What we doing? I got stuff to do. I'm 30, 45 minutes. I get it in, I get out, but I'm consistent with it. That's 6 days out of the week, 7 days out of the week. But in a nutshell, I'm doing those things. So now at 9:30, 10 o'clock, when I get the email that don't say what I wanted to say, or I get the information from the athletic administration across the street about, this one kid might not be able to get into his classes or get admitted to school. When the day hits me, it's hitting my armor. It's not hitting me. And then
Correct.
once I go home at the end of the day, I think Rachel, you said it earlier. You said a bunch of REs, and I was trying to write them down, but refresh, refocus, recommit, replace, all of those things. That's my evening routine. And then I get up and I do it again. So for me, I think the power is in the consistency of how I do what I do.
I love that. I love that. So when was the specific moment someone said that y'all felt God spoke to you to do the work that you do today?
Mm.
And I'm gonna get a lot of questions in here. I want you guys to speak freely, but then I like to do this thing called rapid fire, where you have like, when we get to some other questions, where you have like 30 seconds and I'll count. Or where you have to, what did you say, Jayson? Do your vignette. I've been using that word. So
Yeah. Yeah.
got to paint your picture, give your bullet points, and give your best elevator in 30 seconds or less. But so that's the question. Jonathan wants to know, when was the specific moment that you felt God spoke to you to do the work that you were doing today?
Mm.
You ready for this 30-second? You ready? Okay. Who's going first?
I'll go.
Okay. Hold
So
on.
wait, I got 30 seconds to answer this. All right, I
Think so,
gotta.
bro.
You're on here with people who speak, Megan. Come on
Go
now.
fast.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm giving you some extra seconds to think. Okay. Only because rapid fire, because they're going to start putting these questions in there, and
Yeah.
I want to make sure we get as many questions as possible. And I know it's 8:53 already. Where's the time gone? But okay, so you have 30 seconds. Justin, go first.
Okay, so a couple things. I'm big on names, right? So my name Justin means to be just, to be righteous, right? My middle name is Alexis, which means defender of mankind. One time I was sitting in church, and I had given myself a Hebrew name, which is Moshe, which is Moses, right? And so pastor said this one time. He said, "Let my people go." And I said, that is something that stuck with me. As soon as he said that, I looked at my wife and she said, wow, every time I hear that, I think of you. And that was the moment that I knew that I'm supposed to be doing the work for the people, to let them right here, let my people go, because the world has our people right here in the mind. So there you
Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys 45 seconds because 30 seconds is like
go.
30 seconds is tough, right? So
There
so we'll
you
do
gonna get, there you gonna give them some
Look at
extra
look at
time.
Rachel.
Like
Look at
what?
Rachel's face. Rachel's face. Like, I don't need 45. I'm gonna take what I'm gonna take. I'm gonna let you count down.
you were at 57 seconds or 47 seconds, Justin, but I was like, I couldn't because I know it's the
Okay,
Moshe. I wanted to hear it. You're
that's tough.
frozen too, I think, Just you might be a little frozen on there. Okay, who's going
Oh,
next?
Rachel,
45 seconds.
please.
I'm gonna count. I'm gonna go like this on the 40.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so when I was in college, I went on a missions trip and I went to Jamaica and I helped build homes and mentor kids and all that good stuff. And when I was there, because before I was chasing money, right? Because I wanted, when you go to school, you want to make money. I was chasing money, but when I went there, my heart said, you got to serve. So that is when I knew. So even though I graduated with like a cool degree, I went back to school for social work because that's where my heart was.
Mm.
Okay, with your 30 seconds.
Woo-hoo.
Can I do her
practicing that
unused
elevator
seconds roll
speech
over
right
to
there.
me?
No, you don't get no
No.
rolling minutes. No rolling seconds. Good try, Jason.
Uh,
All right, so
no,
specific
I'm
moment that you felt God spoke to you to do the work that you are doing today.
Yeah, I think mine is similar to Justin's. It's connected to my name, but I don't know if it's a specific moment. I think it's a culmination of my life. And so, again, if I'm touching on my name, and this happened about when I was 40 years old, so not that long ago, I randomly asked my mom, like, why you put the Y in my name? And she was like, oh, I just wanted you to know that you were uncommon. Okay, cool. I went the 40 years of my life just hating to have my name misspelled. And now it's like, oh, okay, cool. From the person who actually did it. I wanted you to know that you were uncommon. Around that same time, I realized that the Greek meaning of my name, Jayson, is healer. So if you take the spelling and the meaning of my name, I am an uncommon healer. Again, I don't know if it was a defining moment, but across the board, I think I've lived my life in that way of being an uncommon healer, and so I'm sitting on it. Yeah, I'm there.
Love it. Awesome. I always like, I don't know what my name means. First of all, we didn't even get a middle name because me and Reagan, my mom didn't know she was having twins until like 2 weeks before she had us. And then they couldn't figure out, they only had one name. So then when they got a second name, and my dad was like, forget it. No middle names. I have no middle name, right? Reagan
Wow.
has no middle name. But no, I truly love to have those aha moments. But I think Justin and I were talking about it, and we have so many moments. And to be able to remember those precious ones, I think is so very amazing. And Justin and I were talking about this. He actually called and said, I'm ready to have more moments with my siblings. We have all these, I have all these amazing moments with all types of other people, and Justin does as well. And I can't wait for us to kind of get out of this pre-launch stage where we're in this where I say pre-launch for Vibe is getting ready to end, but Vibe is getting ready to begin. It's like new beginnings. So I'm excited, and it's an aha moment for me that a lot of people are having aha moments right now that, wow, it is about me. And it's okay. People are starting to feel comfortable the more we talk about self,
Mm.
that it's okay for us to want to be okay, isn't it, Rachel? Like if you don't take care of the caregiver, you have nothing left to give. And I think God gives you that aha moment sometimes in the form of anxiety, or you know what I mean? I'm not saying God gives you anxiety, but you're not in alignment anymore. So I am very conscious. Thank you, Jayson, for
Let me tell
introducing
you this, Meg. Let me tell you this real quick. I
what.
looked it up, right? Check this out. Tell me if this ain't on point.
Jayson, were you looking it up too?
Look, so Megan means it, pearl, associated with qualities of kindness, compassion, intelligence, strength, and independence. Now listen to this. This is another thing. You are pragmatic, thorough, strong-willed, practical, and stubborn at times. I'll attest to that.
Okay.
You are hardworking, often a martyr to duty.
Yes.
Mm.
You like
I
home and security above all. Tell
do.
tell me that's not on point.
It's on point. Okay.
You guys
Thank you.
need to check your name. You know, I always say this when you go back and you look in the Bible, you got Abram, name was changed to Abraham, Sarai changed to Sarah. You've got Jacob changed to Israel, Saul changed to Paul. God did all of those things because within a name is your purpose. So when the names change, the purpose changed as well.
Mm.
So when you go through and you start looking at names, I'm telling you, it is so on point with the characteristics of your personality and everything else. So be mindful of the names that you naming your kids too. So
Right.
really study that and pay attention to it. Think of this. The name Michael means gift from God, right? Now just think about it. Michelangelo, one of the greatest painters of all time. Michael Jordan, greatest basketball player of all time. Michael Jackson, the greatest entertainer of all time. Mike Tyson, one of the greatest boxers of all time. It's in the name.
I believe it. I believe it. Well, I don't want to be a martyr. Can I take that part out? Like, can we
Oh,
remove?
it's
You
saying that
you can't
are
hear what you want to hear though. It said a martyr to work.
to
Okay.
duty. That's what you're doing now. That's what
Okay.
you're doing now. You
I
living
just
it
always
out right
think
now.
like, some people's stories didn't end too well. I'm like, I want to be out.
That's like the perfect as I put that in about Reagan. I feel like I know Reagan enough to look at that, and she probably out little king. Like, yeah, don't it ain't got to be that literal now. It also says royal.
Oh my, okay, okay. So I know, let's see, it's 9 o'clock. I know. Okay. Somebody said real quick, I was wondering if, let's see, Javian mentioned the elbow location. Oh, somebody was talking about basketball. I'll come back to you. Kenneth, someone said Coach Javian who mentioned the elbow location on the basketball court. I was wondering if he could explain the importance of the spot. That was Justin, I think. And if he sees any correlation in life. Why was was it Michael Jordan or no, it was Kobe Bryant? You know how my dad always said that the game is played I played basketball too, is won from the inside, from the inside, right? From inside the paint. And I was watching one of the old, I think it was like Kevin Garnett or somebody gave some young players the business. And he was like, back in the day, the game used to be really physical. The basketball game used to be so physical and everybody was in the paint. Do you guys think it's a significant thing that Kobe was on the elbow? I'm just kind of throwing it out here because I don't want to skip the person's question. The elbow location for basketball. What, Justin, Jayson?
What say okay, what was the question
He
again?
said it was you. So Kenneth said, I believe
Yeah,
it was Coach. It was actually you, Justin.
yeah.
Mentioned the elbow location on the basketball court, and he was wondering if you could explain the importance of that spot, if there's any correlation in life.
What Kobe was doing, Kobe wasn't the most athletic, player to play the game. So one of the things they say about like Michael Jordan was he was the most fundamental, but he was also the most athletic. So those are some of the characteristics that helped him, get to the place where he was at. But with Kobe, what Kobe did, Kobe was so precise with everything. So when he was training, his training was, I don't care who's guarding me. All I know is that the work that I put in, um, and the work that he put in was he had certain spots on the floor. And he knew that if he could get to that particular spot, why? Because he had trained so much. Repetition it just became like, second nature to him. This is what, so in life, this is what we need to do. If you want to be great at something, then you need to have repetition in that particular area. So Kobe was demonstrating it with that. So he knew if I get to this spot, I don't care who's guarding me, I'm scoring the ball. And
Yeah.
yes, in life, you've got to do the same thing. You want to be great, you want to change, you want to make a change. The way you make a change is you've got to do things over and over and over again. And then that's whenever your behaviors become a habit. And so then it just becomes second nature. You know, you want to get up early, start setting your alarm clock and do it for a certain period of days. And then after a week or so, you don't have to set the alarm clock anymore. It's through repetition. And you can apply that to any area in your life.
I agree. I agree on that one. Someone said, and if you guys want to throw the 30 seconds in here, what advice would you give someone who feels they're called to inspire people, but they feel unqualified? And I don't know if you guys have ever felt that way.
Yeah. I'm gonna speak to that.
Yes.
You have to get to the roots of the insecurity. Majority of the time when we know we're supposed to do something, but we're afraid, there is a root. It could be a root of rejection. It can be a root of unforgiveness. It can be there's a root cause of why you are limiting yourself. And so you have to spend time getting to understand why you aren't moving forward. Because if I know people say think about your why, and your why is important, but if there's a blockage in your progression, you need to address that, because that's what's holding you back. So I know my why is to promote God's will. God's will is that people are healed, saved, and set free. And so if I know that, but I'm still insecure, I'm not making progression. So we have to process the root. That's just my 30 seconds. I'll admit that.
I love that.
Rachel, that's twice that you specifically mentioned the word roots in all of the other magic that you said with healing but the roots, as I sit here with that's a real plant. I don't mess around. That's real. Again, I showed it earlier, the roots to our program. I call it our roots. In one of our other coaches' offices, it's got this athletic term, the Titan Creed. That's our nickname, the Titans, the Titan Creed. No, I call it our roots. And for me, the importance of roots is you don't see the roots, yet they are the source of how that plant, that tree, that organism grows, how strong it is. It's the core of what it is, and a lot of times you don't even see it. And so in this situation, we're talking about the roots of what got me there, and so I can move in a progress of healing. But again, across the board, the roots are the roots are the roots. I mentioned earlier, my roots are peace, love, and joy. Well, that's after unearthing myself and getting to the roots of what was preventing me from getting to peace, love, and joy. And so doing the work. So whether we're talking about, Justin and I could probably sit here and talk about basketball till we're blue in the face, let alone y'all didn't fell off a long time ago, and we still talking about basketball. The context doesn't matter. Megan, you mentioned the word empathy earlier. Empathy for me is the context doesn't matter. The content doesn't matter. What I'm connected to in an empathetic moment is the emotion that I feel. The four of us share the same context of our father passing away. But there's somebody on here who still has their father in a physical form, and that person can still empathize with us because now I'm connected to the feeling of disappointment, discouragement, anger, frustration, joy, dare I say. Like I think about my dad, and I'm the longest out of us. My dad passed away in 2003, and I'm at a place now where over 20 years later, I think about, and Megan, I shared this with you, I think about my relationship right now on May 22nd, 2025 with my dad, and it's a place that brings me joy because I'm not limited to having to call him on the phone or anything like that. Hey man, at any given time, at any given place, what's happening? Holla at your boy. you know? But that's coming from a place of understanding who I am. We have all said it in our own individual ways, and we mentioned this again earlier. It's a self journey. If you want to talk about purpose, the purpose, before I know why I am, I have to know who I am.
Mm.
I have to. I'm not saying you don't have to do anything. I'm saying before I know why I am, I have to know who I am. One of my good friends, her name is Sybil, and she spells it a little bit uncommon. So hers is SIBYL. Most times it's SYBIL. And literally, and I can text her, and Megan, hopefully you'll get the opportunity to meet her. But I call her the I before the Y. I like it's I before the Y. I gotta know me before I know my why. And so yeah, Simon Sinek made start with why a very popular thing. And I'm challenging that right now, because before I start with why, I need to start with who.
Mm. So I did use that, but I gave you all the credit. I'm like, it really changed my well, all of you guys have really changed my just perception on life, period. Like you losing your father, Rachel, and just being friends with your husband and dealing with that and just watching you guys go through that. And then my brother was right there when my dad passed. He was the one that came in, and I got to see him first. And I think it was by design that I was there with my brother. And then I talked to Jayson that very next within that 24-hour period. And I really got a chance to kind of see a different perspective on just going through trauma and getting to the root of, I used to spend my whole life being afraid of what's going to happen when somebody passes away. And it kept me in this like frozen state a lot of the times where I really didn't want to get that close to people. I have a lot of people around me, but I'm not necessarily close to a lot of people. So in my name, I do like to be by myself. I do like to be home. And um, I had to really get to the root of why I don't want to always get so close to people, because I was always afraid people were going to disappear or they were there for the wrong reasons. And I think that sometimes can keep people stuck as well. So I'm excited to get to the root of my own problems. I'm excited to sit in your class, Rachel. I'm excited to continue to learn from you, Jayson and Justin. And I know it's 9/11. It's 9/11 right now,
Can
and
I say something really quick, Meg?
I
Real
definitely,
quick.
yes, absolutely.
All right, real quick. Just to touch on that.
No, go right ahead.
How many days are there in a year?
365.
365 days. Do you know in the Bible it says fear not 365 times?
I did not know
Hmm.
that.
So this is to kind of help, with that particular question. 2 Timothy 2:15, it says, study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth, right? And then there's another scripture that says in 1 Peter 3:15, um, it says, be ready to give an answer, but sanctify the Lord God in your hearts, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason of the hope that is in you with meekness and fear. It's a different type of fear whenever he's talking about this. It's reverence, right? But the reason why I'm saying that is because when you are when you're afraid because you feel like you may not have enough within yourself, he's saying, no, study my word, because in my word is where all the answers are. And when you begin to study, and you'd be surprised then when people come to you with questions, and you listen to people, you ask them questions, you listen, you do more listening than you do talking. And you'd be surprised when you start to study, people will come to you with the same thing that you actually just studied, and you'll have an answer for them. And again, it's not your answer, it's God's answer, because God is the one that does the healing, right? God is the one whose answer is true. So study to show yourself approved. It says to be a workman. You have to work at this. And I'm telling you, most beautiful thing, you go to a grocery store, wherever else, and somebody just asks you something out of the blue, or come to you and you can tell they're hurting. And it's like, dang, I just studied that. And that's
Yeah.
God working in you. So you don't have to have it yourself. Where you're weak, he can be strong. So hopefully that helps. And have no fear.
And it does. And I will be the first to say I tend to talk to a lot of different people, to you, Justin, and like and to Jerome and to all these other people. And I'll be the first to like fully admit, I know when I start to feel off balance is when I'm not studying and I'm not in the word like I need to be. So I'm kind of like bringing the church to me. So everyone around me, it's like they're at a different walk with God. They're at a different space in knowing themselves. And I just appreciate all three of you just sharing and giving of yourself. And I can't wait to sit in class. I keep saying that because we really built vibe for what we feel like we need and what the community needs. But more than anything, I need to be around real people who are going through real things, who are really focused on knowing themselves so that they can do the work that God has called them to do. And that's all I want for myself. So I so appreciate you guys. If you can, it is 9:15. Is there anything that you want to leave the people with? Because I know this is just a taste right now. Tomorrow, everybody, it is Forex Focus Friday. And Rachel, your husband has done some pretty phenomenal things in his life. And you guys, your family is just quite amazing. And we're going to be able to hear from him tomorrow. And I'm like,
Yeah.
blown away. I'm so excited because all of these days have been different. On Mondays, it's Memorial Day coming up, so I know we're not going to do it this Monday, but we're going to start doing Young Mogul, Young Mogul Mondays, and then we kind of have a Tech Tuesday going on next week, and just Wealth Wednesday we did, and then Thrive. It's so much that we're getting from you guys, but if you wouldn't mind, just kind of leave us with something, because we'll be sitting in your class once a week. I know, Rachel, you're going to have, books, and you're going to have courses, and Justin, you're going to have course. I cannot wait for people to hear the audio of the Year of Self. And Jayson, you've written books. I know that we're going to have homework to do, even though we're only going to see you guys once a week. We're going to be yearning for more, but you are going to have things for us to do to work on ourselves throughout the week. So anything you guys want to leave the people with before we go?
Sure. I will go first. In order to win, we have to be whole and we have to heal. We can't go very far if we're broken. And I can testify, I'll share my stories with you in class about my aha moment of that I was unhealed, trying to heal people, and that doesn't work. So we first have to take time. We do have to pause and heal those inner wounds. We do have to take time to personally develop ourselves for life, but also we need to learn the skills. So in my classes, we will talk about, it will be centered on mental health and infused with Christianity. So you'll get the best of both worlds. So evidence-based practices mixed with God. You're going to experience healing. You will experience deliverance, you will experience breakthrough, and you will be empowered. So I'm super excited for these classes. I will be providing worksheets, homework. One of my books that I currently have is Get to the Root, A Woman's Guide to Emotional Healing. That is for the women. And so I encourage you to get that. We will definitely use material out of that book. And there is so much more. We will have a fearless faith challenge because we cannot move by fear. We do not have the spirit of fear, but of love, of a sound mind, and of peace. And so that will be coming up in the upcoming months, the Fearless Faith Challenge. So super excited about that. And so thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to being with all of you guys, especially those who have messaged me through the chat. I appreciate you. I hope I answer all of you guys, and looking forward to seeing you next week, right?
Absolutely. Yes, we're excited about that. Thank you so much. Someone asked us, is this only offered in the Legend? Nope. The Pro and the Legend membership, for those of you guys who are asking, that's our main membership. So you'll be able to see them. You can go Pro, you can go Legend, and you get to experience Rachel, Justin, and Jayson as well. So Justin, Jayson, do you have anything you want to add before we part? We can't give them all the good stuff, I guess, right now, but at least still be in class with you guys. You have an hour class that you'll be able to spend with each one of them. So that's like 3 hours of goodness a week. So Justin, Jayson.
I'll go. So, with my class, one of the first things that we're going to talk about doing is um fasting or detoxing. And whenever I say fasting, detoxing, I'm not talking about um not eating food, not eating sweets and things like that. I'm talking about not eating, I'm talking about spiritual food. So uh, anytime you're reading in the Bible and it's talking about eating, when Jesus said, "Take, eat, this is my body, which is broken for you," he's not talking about like regular food. He's talking about spiritual food. So when we begin to before we start to grow, there's going to be some things that need to be purged, and then we're going to get into it. And my course is called the Year of Self. So with the Year of Self, this is going to be, yes, things are planned, but it's going to be a lot of things that are organic. So I want to be able to hear from people, because with people's stories is where everybody else is going to be able to grow as well. So yeah, I'm going to be leading it, but I want to hear the same thing we're doing right now, questions and things that are coming up. We're going to be in real time talking about what people are going through, and let's figure out and come together and have solutions. So at the end of this, you've learned that you have self-sabotage issues, that you may not have been self-aware enough. Maybe there's issues where you've have abandonment issues and things like that that you were not aware of. So we're going to spotlight all of those things within people, and again, you're going to be able to hear it in other people's stories, and through that is going to be where the growth comes from. So we're going to get in, it's going to be fun. It's going to be real. So you're going to laugh, you're going to cry, you're going to it might make you upset at times, but all those emotions are all real emotions, and you need to pay attention to them. So that's where we're going to take it. I'm excited about it. Let's go.
I'm ready. I'm excited. I am excited. So Jayson, last but not least, sir.
Yeah, as I listen to Rachel speak, as I listen to Justin speak, I need to make sure that I'm tapping in. Megan, one of our most recent conversations was around who's pouring into you. Like, we show up in these positions as leaders, as educators, but who's pouring into us? And from our conversation dialogue earlier, our dialogue now, like, I've been poured into. As much as I speak, I made a joke earlier about we're speakers. As much as I speak, I think people underestimate how much I listen, and how much I'm eager to listen. I'm eager to listen to I told them, I said this earlier. My grandmother used to tell me to sit at the feet of elders. I think about that from a literal sense. Sit your butt on the floor at the feet of these people who have lived more life than you, and soak up their wisdom. But for me, in the content that I'll be delivering, it'll be rooted in what Rachel and Justin have spoken about. It's tapping into ourselves. I'm very specific of using the word uncover. That is a word that you will hear a lot as we have this conversation and this dialogue. Uncover, and for me, it's very specific. Uncover as opposed to discover. And even my little humor behind it is, if we're going to discover it, we're going to discover it like Christopher Columbus discovered America. Like, how you going to discover something? It was people already here. The uncovery word is uncovering what the world has put onto us, what the world has said a basketball player is supposed to do, or supposed to drive, or supposed to look like, or supposed to live, or any of the other things that the world has put on us. We're going to uncover all of those things to get back to the core of who we are, those roots of who we are. And so I'm super excited about that. And then I just wanted to finish with your very first question was talking about the belief. How do we coach people through the belief? And for me, one of my biggest breakthrough moments was being introduced to this phrase of "I deserve what I desire."
Mm.
And for me, the intentionality of that is and this is higher self. This isn't surface self, because surface self hears that statement and immediately goes, well, I've talked to people, how you doing today? Oh, better than I deserve. Who said that? Why would you say that? Or somebody may hear I deserve what I desire and associate it with arrogance or narcissism or cockiness. No, I deserve what I desire means I know who I am, and I know that I am created in the image of fill in the blank, whatever you may call your supreme being, your creator. But I'm made in that image, and because I'm made in that image, that is my deserving. And for me, the most important part of that is I deserve what I desire. So I've identified what I desire, and I
Yeah.
feel a certain kind of way about it. Like I think that's a powerful thing for me to know myself well enough to know what it is I want, and then to come back to say I deserve this, and to know that all of that is rooted in my higher self, not my ego self, not my surface self, not the feel good of the moment, but the feel good of the peace. And so, yeah, I'm excited about the journey that we're going to take, and uncovering our true selves, getting back to us, getting back to our roots, and then being able to replant our roots and grow stronger from where we are.
Okay. So I am a teacher. So before we get off of here, I'm a teacher always, a student always. I always like to give people homework and then they can choose to do it or not, And then I always tell people, if you really wanted to, you do the work. Real quick, do you have maybe one thing in everything that we talked about, because people are going to go back and listen. And I asked a lot of them earlier today, like what they got out of it. And, it was pretty impactful. I'm constantly giving people homework and I'm like, you have until 11:59 p.m. PST to get it to me. And people will be, here's my work. I don't want you to, but I want people to think about it. I don't want them to, don't feel like, guys, you got to get this in at any certain time. But do you have one thing maybe that between now and they see you again specifically that they could do? If they choose to do it, it's up to them. If they don't, they don't. Is there any one thing that you can say that they could do specifically? Maybe something I did start listening to my is it Abraham Hicks? I was listening to
Mhm.
that every morning, and when I didn't, it would knock me off my high flying disc. And then Jason's like, "Why are you gonna get off your high flying disc? You ain't, He was like, "You're not effective. Are you effective? No, I'm not effective. So then why? Then keep doing it, So I'm just conscious of things that I'm doing on a daily basis. You guys have anything that you want to give them before we get off of here, specifically that they could do?
This may seem a little vague, but it's not. It's really not. Um, just be ready and be in a manner of expectation. So one of the things that Jayson just said, he's like, the desire, and you know, he said he feels like, I'm getting this because this is what I desire. The Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he, in his, in
Mm.
his heart, in his mind. So you should already be thinking about what you want to get, out of these trainings, out of these courses. Be expecting something that is going to change your life. Walk in expectation.
So expecting to feel free, expecting to feel peace, expecting to feel like I wake up every single day just like, wow, I wonder what's going to happen today. Excited to I'm excited to go to sleep when I do pass out, but I am definitely excited, like I wonder what the day is going to bring. And it's never like, oh man, I got to get up. Now, there was a time when I was like that, when I was actually in a career that I didn't like. So I woke up every day like dreading the day, and then getting into alignment. Now it's like every single day I'm waking up and, I just drove to a hotel because I can. And I'm like, I want to be here and I want to kick my feet up and I want to have peace and I got to get work done. And, you know, I'm expecting to just be able to have freedom. So hopefully you guys can do that. Write some things down. What do you expect the day to bring you? And then watch it happen. Rachel, Jayson, any homework?
Yeah, we talked a lot about identity, motivation, and rooted in that is your value system. So I
Mm,
would challenge
mm,
you
mm.
to write 7 to 10 values, things that are important to you, because you make decisions based on your value system. So if you like peace, you're not going to be in drama. If you like rest, you're not going to have an overly busy schedule. So I want to challenge you all to list your values, 7 to 10, and then we'll discuss it in the class.
I love that. Oh, Jayson gave me that homework years ago and it changed my life. It's like, what do you want? I'm like, I don't know. Now it's on our PowerPoint slide, Jayson, where it's like, what do you want? And you told me that back in 2017. And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, well, write down what you don't want and then write the opposite. And then everything from that moment on, if I said I want to be in a relationship, I don't want to be treated like a option. So I'm really saying I want to be someone's priority. And then anything that would
Mm,
come into my life that didn't look like that, I had a choice to make. And then that was a life-changing moment for me, Jayson. And then I had a big sign in front of my chalkboard. So when the kids would come in and I'm teaching up there, it just said choice. The
mm.
biggest it could possibly be, right? So they're looking at me and they're looking up here, and it's like you always have a choice. So you have a choice to do it or not to do it. So I love that. Jayson, you want to take us out?
Yeah, full circle moment. Earlier I mentioned that conversation that I had with my son a couple days ago, and no exaggeration, that was a part of the conversation. What do you want? Oh, well, I don't know what I want, but I know what I don't want. Okay, cool. Tell me that. And so here you're talking about us having an adult conversation, almost 10 years ago. And now I'm having that very same conversation with my son. So I love that part of it. I'm gonna do a word challenge for you as we speak about action items leaving here. School wasn't my deal. I don't want to disappoint you, Miss Educator, Miss Miss
School wasn't
higher
bringing you
education.
either. That wasn't.
And so when I hear the word homework, that don't sit well with me. And
I
for me,
know.
I use the word practice, because for me, life is always practice. For me, life is always practice. I'm always practicing, and so that's the word that we'll use in our space. But my practice would be to introduce what I and we will refer to as mirror moments. Mirror moments, looking in the mirror. Really quickly, the mirror and a window, it's the same piece of glass, but they do totally different things. And looking in the mirror is a challenging thing sometimes, especially when I'm forced. The mirror forces me to reflect. But my practice moving forward as we go into this would be to simplify it to silly. You've heard me say that before. Let's make it so simple that it's almost silly. So just 2 minutes, 2 minutes. And in those 2 minutes, I want you to have a mirror moment, and I want you to ask yourself 2 questions and spend about 60 seconds on each question. The first question is, where am I not in alignment with who I want to be? Where am I not in alignment with who I want to be? That's a real question. You looking in the mirror now. So who you lying to if you try to lie? That's going to be a tough thing. So that's the first 60 seconds, and reflect on it. Don't be so concerned about answering that question. Feel that question. Don't talk that question. Feel that question. Let that question resonate with you. Reflect on that and feel it from the inside. And then the other one is, what am I willing to take responsibility on today? I mentioned it earlier, awareness and accountability. So the first question is, where am I not in alignment with who I want to be? Or if you want to add, where I want to go. I like that one as well. Who I want to be or where I want to go for that first question of alignment. Where am I out of alignment? And then the second question is, what am I willing to take responsibility for today? Again, as I mentioned earlier, responsibility and accountability, not being blame, not being shame, not being guilt, not being credit, but just understand that I played a role in that. And if it didn't work out the way that I want, if I'm not in alignment, what can
Mm,
I do different? Those are three major questions that I ask. I ask myself, what's working, what's not working, and what do I get to add? what's working, what's not working, and then what do I get to add? And now I get to move forward from there. So that would be my practice. It would be having 2 minutes of mirror moments, asking myself the alignment question and asking myself the responsibility question.
I love it. So I get being constant expectation and, you know, where am I not in alignment with who I want to be or where I want to go? And have you ever looked in the mirror though for a long period of time? It's kind of a strange thing. Have you ever really
Why?
looked?
You don't start. Why? Who said it was strange?
It was strange for me.
Oh, okay.
You're right. I know you're gonna hold me to. It was like, wow, it's really different and you're combing your hair, you're doing stuff, but most of the time people are not really making direct eye contact with themselves. Have you guys ever noticed that, or am I just being kind of strange right now? But it
That's
if
real.
you really have a real mirror moment and like even right now with me talking to you guys, I'm not looking at myself. I'm like looking everywhere else. But anyways, we can go on and on. But I started to do that, Jayson, and it was like, wow, when you really look at yourself in the mirror and you're really like having great eye contact with yourself. And I had a conversation with a lady who was almost 90 years old, and she said it was really weird because inside of her head she feels like she's still 30, 40 years old, but then when she would really look in the mirror and see this older person staring back at her, she was like, it's probably one of the most eye-opening moments because you're like two people almost. So
Mm.
yeah, that conversation already. Like we can go on forever. I want to say thank you guys so much. I cannot wait to sit in your classes. I love all the three of you so very much. And I'm going to go ahead and unmute and just allow the folks 248, 250 people who stuck around for our intimate moments to just give their love back to you guys. So 1 second, let me see if I can unmute. All right, guys, go right ahead. Give them some love.
Wow,
Thank you so
thank
much. Y'all were
you.
all
Thank you. That
great.
was
Appreciate
Oh
it.
my
thank you so
goodness.
much.
Thank you so much.
A
Thank
lot
you
of
so much.
information to
Thank
take
you,
in.
Love
Jayson,
you
so
all.
God
much.
Thank
bless you
Thank you
all.
you.
so
Thank
much.
You
you.
guys are
Bless you all.
fantastic.
Enjoyed it
Good
all.
work,
You
everybody.
guys,
Have a good day.
this is
Good
Wow.
learning.
the best I
Thank
heard
you
in a
so
long
So
time.
much.
Kim, Megan, Jayson, and just
Ready to give some hugs at our first convention. We're still trying to figure out where we're going, but here in the next 90 days or so, we're going to be in a physical space together. You guys are going to be able to hear these phenomenal individuals pour into us. So you want to get your pro or your legend membership if you want to be able to be connected to Rachel, to Justin, and to Jayson. So peace and blessings, everybody. We will see you guys at the top. See you later. Thank you.